Welcome to Leadership Speak, an advanced Toastmaster club for leadership development. We are one of the top 5 clubs globally. I am Irene Sadia, your Sergeant at Arms of the meeting. Our club mission: we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Our leadership statement: Leadership Speak is the premier club for experienced Toastmasters to become better self-directed leaders. We are an advanced club focused primarily on leadership development in everything we do. Our timer has a virtual hand raised so we all can immediately see who is keeping the time. Our Toastmaster of the day, TMOD, who will be leading our meeting today, is Oltesh Thobias. Have you ever noticed that when 2 individuals are given the same opportunities, they may achieve different results? Similarly, companies in the same market can have varying outcomes, and leaders with similar experience can display different levels of success, some poor, others excellent. The key lies in how they work, connect, and interact with people, utilizing their skills and strengths to motivate their resources. Quantum leadership is about bringing people together, resources and systems together cohesively to deliver results. As Oltesh explores this theme, he will share his insights on how to navigate and harness the principles of quantum leadership. Please welcome with me our Toastmaster of the day, Oltesh Thobias.
Thank you very much, Madam S.A. Welcome guests, welcome members, welcome visiting Toastmasters to meeting number 197 of Leadership Speak. I'd like you to go back or even just stay within the current times and think of your community, your workplace, or your family. You would agree with me that each and every member in the 3 areas that I've mentioned is very good in one thing, but they're terrible in something else. That might also be the same for you, where there are things that you're really good at, but there are some things that you're still learning. Why is it that we are good in some areas and we're not necessarily good in some areas? We're gifted differently. Now, for us to move, for us to advance, for us to excel in life, we need to take advantage of the resources, the qualities, and the talents that are available within the teams, families around us. And how do we do that? That is exactly the subject behind the theme of this meeting, which is quantum leadership. I would like to define quantum leadership as follows. It is a modern approach to leadership that emphasizes flexibility, adaptability, interconnectedness, such a long word, and innovative thinking. It draws inspiration from quantum physics that I know for some of you engineers today, probably you know what I'm talking about. But even if you're not an engineer, quantum physics is about Principles such as uncertainty, non-linearity, interconnectedness of systems to navigate complex, rapid, challenging environment effectively. Now, as we navigate through this theme, I'll be sharing some ideas on what is it that we can do so that we can scale up, we can 10x some of the results that we are looking for. For example, we need to consider embracing uncertainty. All of us would like to sit, relax in our comfort zone. We're used to it. And for some of you who read the book, who moved my cheese, you probably know what I'm talking about. You just want to wake up in the morning, enjoy your cheese, chill, and move on with the day. The following day, exactly the same thing. However, life has a tendency of throwing those curveballs to us, and therefore it is important for us to embrace uncertainty. We need to be comfortable with ambiguity and use it as an opportunity for innovation. You might also consider to foster collaboration, which is talking about building networks that encourage shared leverage and diverse perspectives. And let's just come home. Rise to Leadership Speak. If you look through the screen, you would see different names. Nelly Jans, Veronica Zuze. Probably if you are an indigenous English speaking, you might pronounce that name differently. Irfan, Mohammed, Hannah, Holmes. Just look at how different our names are. Probably colors, probably heights. That is what interconnectedness is all about, which is we have to collaborate. And what I've noted for a few months that I've been in Leadership Speak, everyone bring uniqueness, everyone brings something that is probably not available from any other member in the club. And this is why this is a premier club in the world, because through combining all these resources, we get to what we call quantum speed, we get quantum results, but we are also making a quantum impact in our environment. So we therefore need to think about fostering collaboration. We also need to stay open to changes. The first thing I experienced when I came to Leadership Speak is, Oltesh, we don't do it that way here in Leadership Speak. So I had to adapt, I had to change, I had to adjust in order to fit in. But I noted that by being adaptable and continuously learn and experience new insights, that is how I grow, and that is how I experience quantum leadership. And I believe every one of us would experience the same if we consider staying open. So I would like everyone to fasten their belt and let us join this journey of quantum leadership. And in order to do that, I would like to invite our toast of the day. And this is none other than Gada. And when I asked Gada about quantum leadership, this is what she said. It's about turning possibilities into action. It is not about accumulating knowledge, but creating impact. I just like that statement, Gada. I think we need to start posting it out into social media. It is about creating impact. Back to you, Gada.
Hello, dear fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. I used to collect leadership certificates like trophies. Emotional intelligence, check. Strategic thinking, done. Change management, got it. My wall looked impressive. My LinkedIn profile gleamed. But inside, I felt lost. Where do I use all this? When does it matter? Who am I actually leading? I was like a person with a closet full of tools, but no idea what to build. My leadership journey was the same. I had all these potential skills existing in superposition, floating, unused, waiting. Then I discovered quantum leadership and everything shifted. I realized leadership isn't about collecting credentials, it's about turning possibilities into action. Quantum leadership taught me 3 truths. First, all these certificates are interconnected, not separate tools. They are one integrated system. Second, there is no perfect moment to use your leadership. Just showing up changes everything. The moment you engage with your team, your community, your family, you activate those skills. Third, stop seeking the destination. Leadership isn't a certificate on a wall, it's energy in motion. It's the daily choice to influence the space around you. So my goal now transformed from accumulating knowledge to creating impact. Ladies and gentlemen, please unmute your microphones, turn on your cameras, and raise your glasses. Help me to turning possibilities into actions.
Possibilities
Possibilities into action.
Into action.
Yes.
Possibilities into action.
Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Gada. We should thank you and not the other way around. You gave us an opportunity to think and changing possibilities into action. Moving on, I would like to welcome the timer for today's meeting. This is none other than a quantum leader who believes that quantum leadership is not about doing more, but it's about doing what truly matters, knowing, and listen to this, when to pause, when to move, and when to make a game-changing decision. What a powerful way of looking at things. Nelly, please go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Good morning,
Hello.
good evening, good afternoon, and fellow Toastmasters and our honorable guests. I am Nelly, your timer for today's meeting, and I will time each speaker according to agenda and signal using 3 background colors, and that is green, yellow, and red. After each segment, I will post the timing result in the chat. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Back to you.
Thank you, Nelly. That was short on point. Our next role taker is our grammarian, and this is what he said. Quantum leadership is moving from A to D while you're figuring out B and C on the go. What a powerful way of looking at quantum leadership. You know what?
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Dear Toastmasters, as your grammarian, my role is to help us make a linguistic quantum leap, to elevate the quality of our expression vocabulary, and eloquence throughout this meeting. I will be listening attentively to every speaker, evaluator, and role player, noting the creative usage of language, the fluency of expression, and those subtle nuances that make communication truly magnetic. I will also highlight grammatical missteps, not to judge, but to help us refine our verbal precision. After all, clarity is the catalyst that transforms ordinary speech into extraordinary impact. I will be introducing the word of the day. The word of the day, as you can see, is synergy, meaning the interaction or cooperation of two or more organizations, substance, or other agents to produce a combined effect greater than the sum of their separate effect. Simply, 1 plus 1 is more than 2. Example, the evaluators and the speakers work in perfect synergy to deliver an outstanding Toastmasters project. At the end of the meeting, I will be presenting my report on how well we took the linguistic quantum leap today. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Vinod. Our next role is one of the most interesting areas that I love as far as leadership speak is concerned. Because we want to transition, we really want to use the knowledge we learn from leadership speak out there in the field. And we have a segment known as the educational speaker segment. And today we have one of our best in leadership speak. And she believes that there's a modern approach for leading, which is to lead with energy, awareness, and connection. And I would like to welcome Gilda to introduce our educational speaker.
You Toastmaster of the day, I will read or share the purpose of our educational speaker, Angela Brown's project. Angela is to deliver and practice on delivering a presentation, a longer presentation, and engaging audience. Angela also asked me to watch for overall her presence and presentation for this meeting. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Gilda. Angela, leading in the quantum era. Embracing change and connection. Angela Brown, leading in the quantum era. Embracing change and connection.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. Today, I'd like to bring you on a journey to explore a new type of leadership called quantum leadership. We're living in a world where changes happen fast, faster than we can keep up. Traditional leadership of leading through control and hierarchy is no longer exist. Today, let us learn more about this new kind of leadership that moves us for change forward instead of resisting it. Let's explore these questions. Have you ever felt the world changes faster than you can keep up? If you think the answer is yes, please put a thumbs up in the chat. Great. I see a few thumbs going up. That's perfect. Leadership is not about leadership is navigating the unknown with people, not above them. Leadership, in quantum leadership, you don't have to have all the answers. The moment when the old rules are no longer working is when quantum leadership begins. Let me share a story that taught me this lesson firsthand. A few years ago, I had the pleasure of being the president of a Rotary Club. I had only been a member for about a year and a half when they asked me to be the president. At first, I resisted because I didn't want to, I like to stay in my comfort zone. And I thought maybe hadn't been in Rotary long enough. But all the other members had been in Rotary probably 20, 30 years. They had been president 4 or 5 times and wanted a change. As president, I had 3 distinct goals. I wanted to create a new website, a new logo, and to maximize our social media presence. To my surprise, the members resisted. I didn't realize that they would resist this change. But like I said, they've been in Rotary for 20, 25 years, and they didn't see the need to change. I tried pushing at first, but when I stopped pushing and started listening, we moved forward. The energy shifted. Collaboration equals synergy. Leadership isn't about control. It's creating space where others can adapt and we can be flexible. When I'm flexible, the leaders were flexible. We had a web designer come to our meeting and we brainstormed ideas. And to my surprise, the other members were very excited about the project. And when it was done, everyone loved it. This story taught me an important thing about leadership. Leadership is leading through uncertainty and complexity. Leadership is not about, quantum leadership is not about control. Quantum leadership is derived from the quantum physics, which teaches us that everything is connected. Leading isn't linear, it's dynamic. We have constant changes. When we apply the principles of interconnectedness, adaptability, and creativity, mindfulness, we step up and manage. So start with the meaning, you'll see that the things start to energize and people's mindset changes. Connection is the energy between us. Awareness of energy and relationship. In quantum leadership, we have to have the awareness of in quantum leadership, the relationship won't work if everyone is not connected. The mindset, quantum leadership is not a theory, it's a mindset for uncertainty. We don't need to predict, we just need to pivot. We need to be strong, flexible, aware, and grounded when nothing is certain. Adaptability, change, pivot, progress. In the Rotary story, the members needed to adapt. They needed to change their mindsets. But also, I realized that I also needed to adapt. I needed to change as well. Because it's not about titles. It's not about it's about energy, the way we show up in the room. I showed up thinking I would control everything and everybody would just follow. But I realized that when I stopped trying to control everything, started listening, the energy shifted. The choice to connect isn't about command, it's brought together by teamwork. That connectedness in action. Think about this question. Have you ever noticed how one person's presence changes the room? I have another short story about this. When I was in a Toastmasters club that I was in, the club was progressing great. Then we had a new member join our club. And her attitude was one of negativity, one of control, and trying to always control the narrative. She thought she was the smartest in the room and she could control everyone. The energy shifted. People stopped attending meetings. The attendance was very low. Soon, members started to fall out, and guests would come and not come back. Soon, the club started to struggle to stay alive. This shows us what adaptability means, that we need to adapt to other people's mindset, to other people's ideas, not just our own. When awareness means flexibility and adaptability begins. Creativity. We need to let go of the rigid plans. We need to be creative. Creativity can flow. In uncertain time, in uncertain situation, we need to reimagine what's possible. We all experienced this during COVID, when the world shut down. We had to pivot. We had to be creative. Meetings started to be online. Schools were online. Everything changed. Everything shifted because of this one virus. Suddenly, we had to do things differently. Multiple perspectives. Diversity fuels creativity, and multiple perspective fuels creativity. In the Rotary story, when I invited the web designer to join our club, to join the meeting, and everyone started brainstorming their ideas, things shifted. Others started to adapt, and everyone started to put in their opinion. I also had to adjust to listening and addressing other people's concerns. Once I stopped trying to plan, once I stopped changing my plan and starting to pivot to others' idea and embracing others' ideas, everything was better. So we need to know that one person's perspective isn't all that matters. I don't have all the answers. Quantum leadership is about many viewpoints. When different perspectives meet, synergy happens. New ideas emerge and everyone's voice strengthens the solution, which is present in the Rotary story. This is also present in Leadership Speak. I see the quantum leadership in real life. In Leadership Speak, we are a global club with over 30 different countries. We utilize technology to bring people from different countries, different worlds together. There's diversity in how we organize our meetings. When I joined Leadership Speak, I had ideas already. I had already been in a community club. So I thought, oh, I know how to do everything. But when I joined Leadership Speak, I realized I didn't even know how to do a toast properly. I thought a toast was just, joining, just saying whatever came to mind. But no, I learned the toast should be about the theme of the meeting. Everything should center around the theme. We use Easy Speak, which is a system that we use to mark our attendance and mark our roles. We're one of few clubs that use Easy Speak in this way. We're innovative. We're self-directed. The leaders collaborate across countries and time zones. And together, we create a meeting that 60 to 70 people may join at one meeting and enjoy and learn, such as this education speaks. Self-awareness and mindfulness. Leadership begins within. We cannot control everything, but we can control the inner energy. When we're centered, we respond instead of react. Mindfulness keeps teams steady when the world faces uncertainty. The mindset of a quantum leader. There are 5 qualities of a quantum leader. Flexibility, able to shift when conditions change, like in COVID. Adaptability, respond, adjust, and pivot instead of resisting. When I resisted in the Rotary story, the others stood strong. But when I adapted and I changed, things moved along a lot more easily. Another quality of a quantum leader is resilience. We remain resilient, remain steady through uncertainty or disruptions, as in my story with COVID. We also experience resistance in real lives as well. Things happen, and we have to bounce back. We can either let go or we can bounce back like a phoenix. We can be resilient. Self-awareness. Manage our own energy, emotions, and presence. In Leadership Speak, self-awareness is very important to create self-directed leaders who can lead themselves, who don't need to be governed through control, but are free to express their ideas, express their own opinions, and create synergy. A quantum leader is also curious. They stay open to new ideas and don't cling to uncertainty. We move forward, we adapt. So once again, flexibility, adaptability, adaptable, resilient, self-aware, and curious are 5 qualities of a quantum leader. Let's pause a moment to reflect. When change happens, when things are uncertain, we pause, we notice, and we adapt. Think about the last time things didn't go as planned. Did you resist or adapt? Put one word in the chat. Resist, adapt. See how you respond to this question. Okay. Reflection. Okay. Bring forward. Cause and action. Small shifts create big ripples. In the quantum world, everything changes. There's always things moving forward. Every tiny movement matters. Encouragement, pause before reacting, a decision to listen. Each creates a ripple of change. In the Rotary story, when I adapted, I reconnected. When I reconnected, synergy happened. In quantum leadership, adaptability is grounded in connection. The future is always unfolding. Change doesn't stop. Change continues every day, and we have to pivot. We've all heard about what's happening in Jamaica right now. They had a hurricane. There was devastation in some parishes. But what are they going to do? They will have to pivot because change happens, life happens, and we have to move forward. The future is unfolding as we speak. Leading in uncertain times. I just brought up the story of Jamaica. They are living in a in devastation. Things are very uncertain. But the leaders will pivot, not predict. They couldn't predict the devastation this hurricane would cause. So they just have to keep moving, keep forward. Like I said, one of the qualities of quantum leadership is resilience. Ready to get up and go as soon as something happens. We just have to keep moving forward. We lead through awareness, adaptability, and connection. And at the heart of it all is how we make people feel and how we show up. Maya Angelou, one of my favorite poets, says, do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better. Do the best you can until you know better. When COVID happened, we didn't know better. We didn't know what to do. Everything was changing as we minute by minute, hour by hour, things were changing. But then we know better. So if the situation, COVID's still continuing, but if it got to the situation where it was before, as bad as it was before, and the world had to shut down, we could do better because we will know better. We will have experienced it once before. We have policies in place. We have contingencies in place because we know better. We pivot and we work hard, and we make sure that if the same thing happens again, we do it in a different way, in a better way. So as we close, I invite you to reflect on your quantum moment. Be curious, be flexible, be grounded. As we leave today, don't try to control the chaos when it happens. Be curious when things shift. Be flexible when the plan falls apart. Be grounded when others lose balance. Because the world may be unpredictable, but your presence can bring stability and create synergy. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, Angela. Quite insightful, a speech laden with not only experience, but a lot of principles that I believe will take us to the next level as leaders. And out of the 5 principles that you've mentioned, there's one that really caught my attention, the one of curiosity. And this one that I always try to challenge myself, because curiosity removes judgment. You're driving and someone cuts you off. Instead of getting angry, disappointed, I wonder, maybe he's late. Maybe he's going to miss a flight. Or maybe he has an emergency to attend. It removes judgment. Indeed, the principles you shared will pivot us to the next level as leaders. We are now heading to one of the most interesting parts of, again, our program. But before we do that, I've seen a few guests. Maybe some of you have not registered. I would like you to rename, put the guest as your first name and then your full name so that we can acknowledge you, we can recognize you. I've seen one guest whose letter starts with alphabet number 6. It's just guest, but the letter, the name starts with alphabet number 6. So you're welcome to Leadership SIG, and we welcome all the members that are joining us for the first time, and we will keep giving you an opportunity to talk to us. However, just register, and we have a tendency of inviting you back in our future meetings. That said, I'd like now to welcome our first speaker for prepared speeches. And this particular speaker believes that quantum leadership is all about self-awareness And I'm happy that Angela covered that a little bit. And I'd like to welcome Hannah to introduce the purpose of the next speech. Hannah?
Certainly, Mr. Toastmaster of the Day, and Nicole. She is speaking from Presentation Mastery. Reflect on your path. That means she's completed it and reflects on it. And the purpose of the statement is for the member to reflect on her growth during the completion of another path. The purpose of the speech is for the member to share some aspects of her growth during the completion of the path. Over to you, Mr. Toastmaster of the Day, and I'm looking forward to how she does it. Thank you.
Looking forward to Nicole Whyte, Transitions, a journey of voice and vision. A journey of voice and vision, Nicole Whyte.
Today is a particular honor for me to pause, share my progress, and reflect on my path. When I joined Toastmasters, my focus was simple: to improve my communication skills. I knew those skills would strengthen my personal and professional growth. And so my transition began. First, my discovery. Choosing a pathway felt like standing at a crossroads, surrounded by doors, each one labeled with possibility. I wondered which one would lead me closer to purpose. Then came the voice of wisdom. It was Professor Alain Londes, founder of Humber Lakeshore Toastmasters. He told me that he encourages every Toastmaster to start with presentation mastery. In his opinion, it's a foundational pathway for a Toastmaster to develop an understanding of effective public speaking. Of course, I trusted his advice, and I also took the online assessment, which by no coincidence recommended the same path. When I reached level 3 and began projects like Connect with Storytelling and Understanding Vocal Variety, I realized that I didn't just like speaking, I loved it. I was beaming with excitement, bursting with new ideas, playing with my words, painting emotions with my voice. I discovered that speaking from the heart wasn't just my strength, it was my signature. This discovery phase taught me something profound. When we approach new experiences with an open mind and align them with our personal and professional goals, we unlock doors we didn't know existed, doors of hidden strengths, creativity, and confidence. Of course, discovery also shines on areas of improvement. One of mine, honoring the pause. Through those golden nuggets we get from our evaluators, I was often reminded of the power of the pause. I was too eager to share, which resulted in my forgetting to let my words breathe. Have you ever been in the stage of discovery? Maybe you have realized something new about yourself, a skill, or a passion that surprised you. What did you do? Did you nurture it? Or did you tuck it away for later? Well, for me, I chose to be curious and intentional about intentional about continual learning. My confidence was rising, my voice was growing stronger, and I was no longer hiding from opportunities. In fact, a company I worked for had a future talent program. I put my hand up, volunteered, and offered to facilitate their job readiness workshop for interns. It was a fulfilling experience, helping those young professionals get ready for the work world. Realizing how far I had come, I remember being stopped in my tracks, kind of like a little reflection, and said, I was reminded that what we do in Toastmasters doesn't stay confined in our meetings. It transcends into our workplaces, our communities, and the lives of others. I did those workshops approximately 3 years ago. What are the odds? A few weeks ago, an intern tagged me on LinkedIn, quoting a tip I shared during one of those sessions. Wow. That to me is one of the ultimate and enduring impacts of this journey. It was beyond pathway projects. It was discovering myself and the influence of my voice. After every discovery comes a choice to stay comfortable with what we have found or to grow beyond it. For me, growth wasn't just the next level, it was the next leap. Level 4, that's where my stretch began. The projects became more challenging. I often say this was the phase where my ballooning trajectory began, not just as a speaker, but as a professional and a leader in motion. One project that stands out to me is the elective questions and answers session. I centered it on effective resume writing, a topic perfectly aligned with my area of expertise. It was also a period of adapting. I began my Toastmaster journey in the middle of the pandemic. Everything was online. Even when things returned to normal, our club continued in an online mode. What I didn't realize then was that this would become my training ground for a whole new world, the world of ongoing virtual presentations. This project became more than an elective. It was my boot camp. I began to hone my virtual presentation skills, which included engaging the audience, including those who were reluctant to show on camera, like some of you now. Was it challenging? Absolutely. But the experience prepared me for greater. What I learned, I brought it to my workplace and facilitated more workshops. And just as growth had pushed me upward, the shift invited me to lead from a higher place. 10 months ago, I stepped into this premier community, Leadership Speak, where excellence and growth are foremost. Joining this club marked a turning point for me, the shift in leadership. I joined on the heels of level 5, ready, though slightly nervous to take on what came next. My project, a keynote style speech, longer, deeper, but far more purposeful. It was a stretch, another stretch. But it gave me a platform to dig deeper and share a topic that is dear to my heart: how leaders add value to others. This opportunity allowed me to refine my research abilities and to test whether I could hold an audience attention for a full 20 minutes. With wings mounted up like eagles, I soared to my final project, pushed the boundaries, and boldly stepped outside of my comfort zone by choosing to conduct a panel discussion on another topic that is dear to my heart: connection, the core of great leadership. That project was a masterclass in discovery, growth, and shift. It demanded logistics, attention to detail, coordination, and composure under pressure. I had to plan, facilitate, listen deeply, and keep the discussion flowing while balancing multiple perspectives. Along the way, I had a remarkable support system. I'm grateful to the olive branch extended to me by Gerda, Sandra, and Jyoti, 3 brilliant minds and heart-centered leaders who embody the spirit of synergy. Through these projects, I proved to myself that I am resilient, dedicated, and capable of achieving what I set my mind to. My transitions have prepared me for what's next. Discovery gave me purpose. Growth gave me courage. The shift gave me clarity, a clearer vision of my why. Today, I see myself not just as a better speaker, but as a self-directed leader, guided by purpose. Fellow Toastmasters and dear guests, this journey has been more than a pathway. It has been a mirror, reflecting who I was, who I am, and who I am becoming. So to anyone still on your journey, stay curious, embrace feedback, and never underestimate the power of how a pathway can transform you. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Nicole. I saw, I felt, I heard, and I believe everyone has witnessed that transformation, the discovery, the adaptability, the shifting, and breaking the boundaries and the barriers, transcending from the four walls of Toastmasters into your corporate world and using your skills in your place of work. Next on, as someone who believes that quantum leadership is about embracing gratitude and finding joy in what we have already. What a powerful advice. Find joy in what we already have. Ray will introduce our next speaker. Right?
Thank you, Toastmaster Oltesh. Today, Irfan Farooqui is going to do a level 1 speech, writing a speech with a purpose. He's going to learn and review the basic techniques for writing a speech with a defined purpose, with several support points. And as his evaluator, I will pay attention to the theme of the speech and your supporting points and wrap it up with a conclusion. And if there's anything that supports this speech, whether it's just gestures or facial expressions, I will take note of that as well. Over to you, Oltesh.
I'm curious to hear what Irfan Farooqui is going to talk about. The red Dunhill coat. The red Dunhill coat, Irfan Farooqui.
Have you ever fallen in love? Can you raise your hand virtually or physically? Those of you who have fallen in love? Or maybe I should try to guess it from the face colors of your. Ladies and gentlemen, let me share my love story with you. It was an evening time. I was in the local market or high street, somebody would say, just wandering about, doing nothing, just window shopping from shop to shop, seeing things. And in this travel, I went into a dress shop. I saw in a cabinet most beautiful coat that I had ever laid my eyes upon. It was a red Dunhill coat. I immediately fell in love with that coat. The love at first sight. What? Do you think love is restricted between man and woman only? Can't I fall in love with a coat? Well, I fell in love with that coat. I went to the cabinet and I saw that beautiful coat. The salesman immediately came there and helped me put on that coat. Yes, I looked into the mirror. Wow. It was class, beauty, elegance. Yes, I like that show. I admired myself in the mirror and I said, yes, it's perfect. Adding value to my personality. Wow. Then I looked at the price tag. My heart sank. The price was far beyond my affordability. The salesman came close to me and said, sir, should I pack it for you? Should I pack it? And I said, no, please put it back. I left the shop, but that red coat never left my mind. Ladies and gentlemen, time passed. I was a young student at that age. A few years ahead of that, I got a job. I started getting salary. Things became affordable to me. And I then went back to that same shop. But to my surprise, the coat was not there. It was sold out. Over a period of time, I kept on searching for that red Dunhill coat in my local markets. And then when I traveled out of country, I tried to find it out in Dubai, in London, Oxford Street, in Italy, in Switzerland. Unfortunately, I was never able to find that beautiful coat that I had loved once. Over a period of time, two events of my observational life changed my thought process, changed my feelings. And I realized that for material things, true joy of life isn't in abundance, it's in scarcity. When everything is in reach, nothing feels special. And a person who is barely on breadline, even the small comfort feels like a blessing. Ladies and gentlemen, what those two events were, let me just share something with you. I was watching a movie clip of Michael Jackson, He went into a Las Vegas shop, a high-end, high-up class shop. And there he was saying, I like it. Give me this. Give me this. This. I want this. I want this. He was just pointing out at things. Have you watched that clip of Michael Jackson in the Las Vegas? I want this. I want this. Give me this. Maybe some of you would have. And his manager said, you already have these things. We don't have place to keep them. And Michael Jackson said, no, I want them. I want them. Give me this. Give me this. Give me this. I realized that with the fame and fortune of Michael Jackson, he couldn't fill the emptiness that comes with having it all. In a second occasion, I saw an old homeless lady sitting in a winter on a side street, just wearing torn out clothes, a shirt and a trousers. She was trembling with, shivering with the cold weather. I thought, for me, that red coat, that branded coat is a dream. But for any used way of life is being somewhere between we have and we don't have. And I thought that we should have gratitude for what we have, yet we should have some burning desires for something that we don't have. Because desires give life its color. Dreams make our hearts beat faster. Scarcity, not abundance, gives meaning to what we have. Friends, next time, when you don't have anything, when you can't buy a red coat, smile. You are living in the richest moment of your life. The moment when the joy of wanting is with you. Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, Farooqui. Irfan, what an interesting story. And I like this quote. You can't feel the emptiness of having it all. And I didn't know that you can actually smile over scarcity. That's quite an interesting way of looking at things, especially if you can't get hold of what you need. Our third speech is from someone who believes that our quantum leadership informs the choices we make as leaders. And I would like to welcome our third evaluator to evaluate, to share with us the purpose of Wahiga's speech. Mohammed, please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the Day. This speech is from the pathway Persuasive Influence, and the title is Understanding the Conflict Resolution. The purpose is for the members to develop or enhance his or her understanding of the steps and strategies to address conflict. The member to share some aspect of his or her experience learning about and resolving conflict. Over to you.
TMOD, you are mute.
Wahiga, Gichinga, the choices we make. The choices we make, Wahiga, Gichinga.
Have you ever caught yourself on opposite sides of a critical decision with your team. How did you navigate that? That was me last December with the Division Council. Subject matter, second club officer training. We had scheduled for the second training in December to give the team a good run in the second half of the year. As fate would have it, one of the areas had an event on the same day. And to include them, we shifted the training by 1 week. 2 weeks to the training, only 5 members had registered. A contrast with the first training, where we had 90 members in the room. And clearly, this looked like a flop. Toastmasters and guests, have you ever been faced with a tough choice? What influenced the choice? The cost, the challenge, your values, or the overall objective? In our monthly meeting, the organizer suggested this training is not viable, let's cancel it. Now, there was a district directive that all trainings need to be physical. No, we had challenges with clubs in our district. And to ensure that we warm ourselves with each other, connect better, and work together, we needed to meet. And second, no director could hold a training on the same day with another. And that was to allow us to take care of each other's backlog. Now, I was looking at the schedule, and the next available slot was mid-February. And to me, that was quite far down the line. At that point, officials would be thinking about succession planning, not necessarily what to implement. And shifting it all to that end was merely ticking a box. Well, as the conversation went out, I was thinking, how do I go about this? And the question in my mind was, when all is said and done, what will matter? Is it the numbers that I trained? Is it how fast I did it? Or is it that I was of service? Now, asking myself that question gave me a bit of guideline of at least what was important. And when it was time for me to make the call, I told my team members, look here, I agree with you. This is not viable. But I'm not thinking, we are Toastmasters. Here, this is where leaders are made. And the reason why we are officious is to take care of the members, because each member counts. In fact, if they could point us to the core values of Toastmasters, which are respect, integrity, service, and excellence, I think we should look for a way of to be of service to the 5 members who have registered. And half-heartedly, they agreed with me. And I told them, leave that with me. Let me figure out how to take care of cost with the district. Friends, have you ever made an unpopular decision? After a few consultations, I found a smaller room that could accommodate people, a few members, and it was well equipped because it was a training room. And as luck would have it, we were able to cancel the other room, cancel the equipment at no cost. And that shifted the elephant in the room. But I had one more challenge: the remaining members that are untrained. I quickly made a call to my fellow directors and asked if they could accommodate a huge chunk of my team members because their training came in January, well, a little bit earlier, which they agreed to. I gave a sigh of relief. At least I can take care of the majority of my team members, and I'll think about those that don't get trained later on in February. Friends, on the material day, we got to train 20 members. And these 20 members, some of them went ahead to create magic in their clubs and heavily support the division. Looking back, it is the value card that made it easy for me to make that decision. Otherwise, based on cost and how things were looking, I wouldn't have gone that route. And one thing that made me happy was I was shifting pawns, not to go put over fire. I was shifting pawns to support members of my team that have made their role a priority. Friends, we are leaders. And what is constant in our world is change, is uncertainty. Every day, we are making choices. What informs those choices? And if I could ask, if you have a team, when making a choice, could you be sacrificing their energy? Could you be sacrificing the initiative of those that go first to the weight of the masses? Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, Wahiga. You indeed navigated through the challenges, and I didn't know that you had been practicing quantum leadership all the way back. Insightful how to pull resources, but also how to support those who look up to you. We now have an opportunity to listen to our fourth speaker. And he has quite an interesting way of looking at quantum leadership. And he says, creativity has no borders. And that's an example of being limitless. I'd therefore like to welcome Robin to introduce the purpose of our next speaker. Robin.
Thanks, Toastmaster of the day. So Paramjit today will be speaking from the Visionary Communication path, and this is level 1, and is the third project, which is called Introduction to Vocal Variety and Body Language. The purpose of the project is to practice using vocal variety or body language to enhance the speech. In this case, the focus is going to be on using vocal variety. And Mr. Toastmaster, this will be a tall tale speech. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Robin. Paramjit Singh, Raise of a Toastmaster. Raise of a Toastmaster, Paramjit Singh.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the day. It's a tall tale, so a little exaggerated, more exaggerated. I was finally on a vacation after saving the word for 197th time. 3 more times, and I will get my universal free travel card. I was enjoying my vacations on the golden sands of Senegal, sipping the coconut juice from one of the biggest coconut I have ever seen. It was to be brought to me by the help of 1 crane, 3 forklifts, and 1 elephant. It was so tasty. As I was just enjoying it, I got a call. And the caller was Joe Biden. Paramjit, the world needs you. Please save the world. Mr. Joe Biden, every time there is a work, you call me. Why don't you call Superman? He's free from 2013 and getting salary for unnecessary things. Before I could hang on, I got another call from Elon Musk. Paramjit, please help us. I don't know what is happening to my missile. My rockets, they are going to the different planets. It's a problem with your Wi-Fi. By now, I was knowing that my vacations are over. And soon, Apache helicopter, roaring like my wife's voice when she see my Amazon bills, landed near me. I jumped into it and we landed onto one of the biggest aircraft carrier in the world. And I thought we have almost invented a new continent. And here I was given the guard of honor by the naval chief, which was more longer than an Indian wedding. And then they gave me F-22 Raptor plane. I jumped in and soon I was in the air and I almost destroyed dozens of our enemies' stores. And before I was coming back to refuel, my plane was stuck by something at the back. And now my plane was going nosediving. It was just like, I'm just finished. I'm just gone. My life is at the end. But soon, a ball of blue light engulfed my plane. And it started lifting up. And now I was moving at the supersonic speed. And when I landed, everything was blue around me. Grass was blue, sky was blue, even blue mosquitoes with blue earth. And there, where I could see as far as possible, oh my, lot of aliens. And they were shouting at the highest of their pitch, General Paramjit, Haring Po, General Paramjit, Ching Po, General Paramjit, Haring Po, General Paramjit, Ching Po. And then their chief, he addressed me. Mr. Paramjit, welcome to Galaxy 120, Red Planet, Blue Planet. The Red Planet has attacked us, and you have been called here for the special mission. Here we don't fight with the weapons. We don't destroy one another. So, we have a debate, and whosoever wins the debate, he takes over the other planet. We wanted to bring Mr. Smedley, but he is enjoying his retired life in the heaven. Then we asked for DTM Brahm Mammon. Oh, no, he is so busy that we can't free him. Then he told, you take Paramjit. He has never, ever failed in a debate, particularly with his wife. So I did not let Mr. Smedley, Toastmaster International, and leadership speak, and won one debate after one debate. And I debated, and soon the whole Galaxy 120 was under the blue planet. And I was given the award of Galaxy 120 Championship of Public Speaking. As well as they made me Commander-in-Chief of verbal warfare means Toastmaster with the laser light and presentations. And they even forced me to marry their most beautiful lady. She is Miss Universe, Miss Milky Way, as well as Miss Andromeda. Oh, sorry, she's with me, but you can't see because you need special laser lights to see her. But she's saying something. She wants to convey. She is wearing gratitude for saving the blue planet, as well as she is advising us that don't destroy the Mother Earth by using the weapons of one another. So beautiful word you have over here on the earth. Just solve your problems, solve your issues with debate and discussions, and become friendly with one another. My dear friends, now it's my flying saucer is outside. It's very difficult to park over here, so I will now be like to leave. But whenever you see a blue light blinking on the sky, don't think it's a comet. It is General Paramjit, your Toastmaster in the universe. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
General Paramjit, I just went check through the window if there's a helicopter hovering, and then what an interesting journey of a tall tale. Very creative, which by the way has been mentioned as one of the qualities of quantum leadership. I'm really happy that all the speeches are revolving around quantum leadership. Now we are still seeing the link for visitors to register. Please do so as we prepare to listen to our fifth speech, to be delivered by one of our, again, critical thinkers and leaders within Leadership Speak. And he believes that staying focused on your goals, embracing change, and adapting when faced with challenges is what will move that dial forward. I'd like to welcome Tony to share with us the purpose of Soul's speech. Tony.
Okay, thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Our speaker, Arouna Soul, will be giving his presentation from the Dynamic Leadership Level 3 Project 2 Deliver Social Speeches Level Version 2. And version 2 is different than version 1 from a different pathway. And version 1 is a typical toast or a eulogy or something like accepting an award or giving an award. But this one is different because this is from the dynamic leadership presentation. So this presentation on social occasions will be showing something about dealing with audience dynamics and context. And Arouna will be trying to demonstrate tone, empathy, and control as he's addressing the audience's feelings and emotions. So it's a bit different than a typical social speech. Arouna also asked me to look at how he's prepared the structure of his speech and to see if it's appropriate for the occasion. And typically, like for a social presentation, it's a bit of a shorter length in time. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Tony. Arouna Soul, a game changer. A game changer, Arouna Soul.
Fellow Toastmaster and guest, have you ever been in a situation where declaring a winner in the competition was so difficult? Last year, I was called upon to announce a winner of a program put in place to strengthen the capacities of senior representatives coming from 8 countries in the field of financial markets. We were facing challenges because we have many deserved candidates, and the criteria we set up at the beginning of the competition were not enough to find a winner. And when it comes to announce a winner, I thought about scenario where the candidate disagreed with the judge's choice. Then I started to recall the objective of the program. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have in the hand of our training program of financial market capacity development. First of all, I would like to thank all of you for your dedication and your consistencies during these 10 months. Today, we will announce the results of the test we did last week. The winner will have the opportunity to stay with us for an additional month. Based on what we saw on the result of the test we did last week, compared to the result of the pre-test, I can say we have reached the goals of our program. Ladies and gentlemen, you all deserve the first place of the competition. Unfortunately, we need to choose one. Trust me, the choice was not easy. Ladies and gentlemen, you will agree with me if I say the winner is one who was dedicated and consistent since the beginning of the program. Ladies and gentlemen, you will agree with me if I say the winner is one who was always available to support. Did you guess? Ladies and gentlemen, raise your hand if you think the winner of this program is Hubert. And I saw many hands up. And I finished my speech by congratulating Hubert. Hubert, we are so proud of you. Your dedication and your consistency allows you to win first place on this competition. You have a proof that talent alone isn't enough. It's hard work, resilience, and determination to find a way that truly makes difference. Ladies and gentlemen, the great end of education is not knowledge, but action. And we hope that skills we learn from this program will be useful to improve your daily practice. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much for that interesting delivery, which again used a lot of creativity in getting to accomplish your project. Having said that, that is the end of our 5 speeches, and you'd all agree that we have been taken through different journeys, quite interesting, from the quantum leadership delivery that was done by Angela. Then, of course, the speech from Nicole, sharing with us her journey. Then, of course, we did hear about the Red Dunhill quote, and I'll start looking for it. And then, of course, Wahiga sharing the challenges she has experienced as a leader in making those tough choices. And of course, Paramjit taking us into different planets, but he was ready to protect us. And of course, Arouna changing the game. That said, that marks the end of our 5 speeches. But before we take on the next segment, I would like to request the timer. I don't know if we have the timing posted. Yes, we have the timing or the times that we use to deliver speeches posted. So I believe that the evaluators will take note of that. And I would also once again like to welcome our guests and remind you to register, but also most importantly, identify yourself so that we can acknowledge you. That said, I'd like to, I think Nelly has already shared the timing, and we will now be waiting for the votes to be posted. And as we wait for the votes to be posted, let me just check if we still have the guests in the house. All right, the votes are posted. I'm not seeing the guests that I had previously. I don't know if we have any other guests who would just want to say something for a minute, and then we will proceed with the next segment of the meeting as we continue voting. If there are no further comments, we will now move into our second segment, into our next segment, and this is general evaluations. And this will be delivered by, this session will be facilitated by none other than Lydia. And Lydia, who is a human resource specialist for several years, believes that for quantum leadership to happen, we need to embrace ambiguity and complexity. And that will allow us to unlock creativity, build stronger relationships, and then thrive in a rapidly changing world. Lydia, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster of the day, for the introduction. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, fellow Toastmasters, and a warm welcome to our guests in the room. I am your general evaluator today, and I will oversee the evaluation segment of our meeting. I will be calling a team of seasoned Toastmasters to evaluate all the speakers. I'll be calling on the role players for their reports, and finally, I will share my overall assessment of today's meeting. To start with, our toast. Let me welcome our President Holmes, who will evaluate the toast delivered by Gada. When I asked Toastmaster Holmes what is his take about the theme, this is what he said. The quantum world mirrors our reality, fast-changing, intricate, and rich possibilities. Over to you, Toastmaster Holmes.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Members and guests, at Leadership Speak, the toast always has two components, where we want to look at whether the toast was successfully done or not. The first is whether the theme was well explained. The second is what kind of mood or synergy came out of the toast, and were we all synergized with the mood of the room? Let's see what worked well in Ghada's toast. In terms of content, Ghada has covered well some aspects of quantum leadership. These are how collaboration is very important, and how when we use a quantum leadership approach or a quantum approach, we would be able to see different aspects and different perspectives into things by focusing on how things are actually interconnected. She also did well by having clear pronunciation, a very comfortable pace where each and every of her words are spoken with power and clarity. Some of the things that Ghada was concerned about when she connected with me as an evaluator. How could Ghada do better? In terms of content, I would recommend that Ghada could consider her time spent. She spoke for about 3 minutes, with the first 1.5 minutes about the story of her certificates. I would imagine that Ghada would be able to expand on more aspects of quantum leadership, particularly that of innovation, that of ambiguity, that of complexity and agility. Had she shortened her story and spent more time just expanding all this. Separately, I would also recommend Ghada make use of different aspects of the space in her video, as well as be watchful of her facial expression when it's lost. Maybe the facial expression needs to be a bit different, maybe more solemn. In conclusion, I believe that Ghada has done well in hitting most aspects of what is required of a toast, expanding on what is quantum leadership, and eliciting confidence that the speakers about to come will have value to the audience. She could improve by spending more time expanding on the theme, as well as exploring, being careful of her facial expression, and exploring the use of different parts of her camera. With that, I'd like to hand back to Madam GE.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Holmes, for that detailed evaluation. I really appreciate the depth of your insights during the evaluation. I observed that you brought out the key highlights, which was well stipulated by you. However, I challenge you to take slight note of the time. And also, when you're doing the hand gestures, at some point you could only see up to this level. If at all, you could also try to adjust your Zoom presence. Overall, thank you very much, Toastmaster Holmes. Now we are going to the TMOD. TMOD Oltesh will be evaluated by Ghada Felix. This is what Ghada said about the theme of today. It is important because our world is changing rapidly and we need to adapt it. The world of Star Trek is not so distant anymore. Over to you, Ghada.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Today, I will evaluate Oltesh in regards to these points. Oltesh needed to deliver or facilitate a discussion or even disseminate information to attendees at the session. I believe that he did that well. Here was the promise. The promise for us to come to the meeting and for guests to come to the meeting was to discover how to cut through the noise and focus on what matters most. Multiply results by making bold strategic moves, turns speed and precision into unstoppable leadership momentum. Seize speed, common outcomes, lead without limits. This was the promise to us today. Did Oltesh fulfill that promise? A resounding yes. He talked about the pause, to notice, and also to adapt. And that was also in the speech from Angela. From start to the end of his segment, everything connected. Now, what Oltesh may want to work on, where you situate your notes, because as you were reading, you lost eye contact with the audience. Oltesh also asked me to make sure that I paid attention to his vocal variety. Vocal variety, I noticed from beginning to end. His intonation was one. When he spoke in the beginning, his intonation was, if he was speaking to a big crowd, therefore, his intonation was from his throat. That's where I heard it. However, after each speaker, his tone was a little bit warmer and softer. This is something to pay attention to. So in summary, I liked that everything connected from beginning to end, that the promise was fulfilled, to pay attention to where you put your notes and also your vocal variety. But for me, what sealed the deal is that at the end of Oltesh's segment, he made sure to summarize each presentation for us. That was a very well done meeting, and Oltesh did his part brilliantly. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Geda. You gave a very detailed evaluation with good pauses. For our guests, you must have noted that the evaluator talked about the areas that the speaker wanted her to observe, and that is vocal variety, showing that they had a synergy of collaboration together with the speaker. And that is what you normally do in leadership speak. You collaborate with the speaker, then you are able to work on the areas that you want to improve on. Only challenge yourself, only request to challenge yourself in the Zoom, with your Zoom presence, because when you're using your hand gestures, we only managed to see only one hand, and also we could not see, you need to adjust a little, and then you will be able to articulate those points clearly, and then we'll be able to see them well. Thank you very much. Well done. Now we are moving on to the leadership education speaker. The education speaker will be evaluated by Gilda. And this is what Gilda said about the theme. Gilda said, quantum leadership is about prioritizing tasks and the ability to achieve, or even during uncertainty. Over to you, Gilda, to evaluate Angela Brown.
Thank you, General Evaluator. And hello, everybody, leaders and distinguished guests. Angela, you gave us a powerful message. You reminded us that we no longer live in a predictable linear era. We live in a quantum time with many possibilities. And to lead, we need to be quantum leaders. Thank you. What was powerful in your presentation, Angela, is you displayed your slides in your back screen while we could see you very clearly and connect with you on the screen. We could see your eye contact, we could see your body gesture, and you smoothly went through the slides that you wanted to display for us. Also, what was very effective, you shared two stories. One, your personal story, where you explained or you demonstrated your leadership as a quantum leader and how you adapted to change, how you listened to all the possibilities and supported it after that with a slide so we could remember it for a longer time. And what stood out for me actually is when you connected quantum leadership to leadership speak and how we demonstrate as members from different part of the world, different diversities, different opinion and possibilities, and how we connect and we synergize to become quantum leaders and effective leaders. Let's bring this informative, powerful presentation to a higher ground, Angela. Preparation before you come to that stage. We probably wasted about 10, 15 seconds just getting prepared in the beginning. Your powerful call to action, which is be curious, be flexible, be grounded. You could have said it in a powerful vocal variety, just like the way I probably said it. It was in the same tone as you.
Oh my goodness. Something happened in her sound.
Hear me, guys?
Yes, we can hear you now, Gilda. Thanks.
Thank you. I'll continue. Angela, on our very powerful presentation with great takeaway, great opening, powerful message, work on the bit of vocal variety and have preparation in the beginning of the presentation, and you will bring that presentation to a much higher level. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Gilda. Members and guests, you might have noted how Gilda gave her evaluation with good pauses, with clear recommendation. And what stood out was her key takeaway, which was very clear. And how she was able to summarize her evaluation in a detailed way. Thank you very much for that evaluation, Gilda. However, there is an area that you need to work on your gadget. At some point, we lost you, but finally you got and you unmuted yourselves. Also, that one might have eaten into your time. Overall, well done, Gilda. Thank you very much. Now we are going to the next segment of the speakers, and our first speaker will be evaluated by Henna, that is Nicole Whyte. And this is what Henna said about the theme. It can empower leaders to navigate complexity and thrive in a constantly changing environment. Over to you, Hannah.
Madam General Evaluator Nicole and distinguished guests, the best things in life don't happen overnight. It's trusting that what you're waiting for will be worth in the end. And it finally turns out very well. Congratulations, Nicole, for that. Not even the pandemic could stop you from this desire to complete your journey. As you mentioned to me, I have now come to the end of my journey and I am ecstatic. What's in it for me? Again, what a powerful speech. You were ecstatic about your speech as evidenced by your enthusiasm, your vocal variety, your eye contact, and your hand gestures. The voice of wisdom was definitely a highlight for you in making the path presentation mastery the ideal starting point for every Toastmaster, and especially in your career in public speaking. You vividly described how you've learned the skills within Toastmasters, especially leadership speak, and how you have applied them to your personal and professional life outside of Toastmasters, in your workplace. And this definitely shines through in your role as VPE for leadership speak. What I saw, your excellent body language, folding your hands in front of your chest, gesturing various gestures, good hand gestures. Your absolute confidence shone through your speech. What I heard, your excellent vocal variety with well-timed pauses when you said it when it mattered. You even emphasized the importance of pauses in the speech. Let the words breathe. What an amazing analogy. What I felt the intense passion you showed in presenting your way through the path levels 4 and 5 in becoming a leader in motion. Being a leader in motion, even in the pandemic, would not hold you progressing in your training ground. Your boot camp enthusiasm put a spark on me, and the desire to choose presentation mastery as a path as well. You have built on what you have learned. With your call to action, you encouraged me and the audience to become better, self-directed leaders, especially within leadership speak. Stay curious, as a pathway can transform me and you. Thank you very much for letting me know that every pathway journey has a mirror to reflect on. Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Hannah. Hannah seemed to have been very keen in listening and brought out the key areas with direct suggestions. She offered a well-structured observation that grounded her evaluation with clear recommendation. She even came up with a call for action, which she got from the speaker. Her hand gestures were very clear, and we were able to see her well in her Zoom presence. The only area, Hannah, you might want to work on, at some point you said you felt. You would have said you felt, because the feeling comes from the heart. Overall, well done, Hannah. Thank you. We are going now to the second speaker, Irfan Farooqui, who will be evaluated by Ray Raviero. This is what Ray said about our theme today, quantum leadership. For him, it means being proactive, looking at chessboard of possible moves and determining the best course of action, or even the consequences of moves that initially look good but lead to disastrous results. Over to you, Ray.
Thank you very much, Madam General Evaluator, and especially Irfan from his visionary communications path. I hope my evaluation synergizes with helping you improve your speaking skills. You started off with a lot of great positives. You had a good opening sentence of bringing in the audience. As they grow in, you surprise them with from falling in love to falling in love with a red coat. You develop that story, and then it all comes crashing down with a great combination of gestures, facial expressions, and a deflating body language. My heart sank. The disappointment of not getting a coat, and then justifying your disappointment in not getting that red coat. You start off with one extreme with a rich person, Michael Jackson, and then to the other extreme with the poor lady without a coat. The rest of the story is just the justification of what would have happened if I got the red coat, but really how I deal with the disappointment of the scarcity as opposed to abundance. To be thankful for what you have, and to realize that it wasn't the end of the world. I enjoyed that you were also at the center of the screen and kept these eyes on the camera. It's the window to the audience of leadership speak, the hidden member who doesn't pay dues. Now, some of the minuses I noticed. Your gesturing could be reduced. I liked how you used it at specific points in the speech, but then you kind of still use those gestures in between one major story, one major point, and another. I'm going to give a suggestion as a challenge is to review this video and take a look at how I could just do a relaxed, neutral stage, then bring up the gestures, bring up the facial expression and the body language, and to make the impact of each point very important and capture that audience's attention. And as for the fame and fortune, very minor point, instead of just Michael Jackson, where we were trying to figure out if we saw the video or not, I think the thankless, pompous rich man might be a better expression that we can all relate to. I saw that the video cut off, but there's things that sometimes when we deliver speech, we have no control over, and I liked how you continued that. So overall, very good speech. I love the delivery. I am personally happy that I got to see your presentation on Tuesday, and then kind of use those notes for this presentation so I can pay closer attention. And just remember to use the neutral stance to continue on, and then use the gestures to bring your points home. Over to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you. Thank you, Ray. Members and guests, you might have noted how Ray gave his evaluation with passion. There are areas like when he was talking about my heart sank. You could see that feeling. That one shows the connection when you're giving feedback to the speaker. And the recommendation was very clear, and even telling the speaker to review the video. That was very connecting with the speaker. He also gave a detailed evaluation with, again, clear takeaway. Thank you very much, Ray. The only slight thing that I noted at some point, you were swaying with your seat. So at some point, I got a little bit distracted. Yes. Yeah, if next time we can just try to be still a little bit and then be able, we'll concentrate with the feedback that you're giving to the speaker. Overall, thank you very much for that evaluation. Let's go to the third speaker. The third speaker was Wahiga Gichinga. Wahiga Gichinga will be evaluated by Mohammed Azmuddin. Mohammed is from Canada and is a mechanical engineer. He joined Toastmaster to improve his leadership and communication skill. Over to you, Mohammed.
Thank you very much, General Evaluator. And in the beginning, I would like to thank Wahiga Gichinga for such a speech where she has navigated through conflict resolution and landed with a marvelous resolution that achieved a result 4 times greater than expected. Thank you very much for giving such a speech. So I see that the speaker actually has identified the resolution very well. So what was the conflict was that, and she has also explained the conflict in a very clear way. She has taken time to explain the conflict, that the club meeting, in the club officers training, 5 members missed the training, and then there was a conflict of arranging a makeup training for these 5 members, and that was the conflict. So how I see that she engaged herself in finding the resolution of that conflict. And I see that there was one motive that synergized her to look for the resolution of this conflict, and that was that members' interests should be given prime importance. And for that, she was behind this resolution. So I see that how did she actually manage the conflict? So first, she identified the conflict and then intervened at the right time when it was needed to resolve the conflict. And she spoke to her co-directors at the right time to resolve this issue, escalated the issue, the conflict, and tried to convince his co-directors that it is needed to resolve this conflict. And so she clearly communicated, and the result was that instead of 5 members, she trained 20 members. So the result was 4 times. So that was wonderful. I see that she had a very confident voice, clear voice, and very friendly gesture to deliver her speech. Eye contact was also good, engaged the audience intellectually. What I suggest is that should bring some more empathy into it. So when the conflict is there, so using the tools of empathy and creating the facial expression that she is really very much engaged and worried about the solution, so that both the parties can understand her role in conflict resolution. That I think the speaker could work on it. Over to you.
Thank you, Mohammed, for that detailed evaluation. Your evaluation was well structured, and we could see that you had good observation. And that observation, you are able to ground the evaluation feedback that you've given out and the recommendation that you've given to the speaker. However, I noted initially when you're giving the feedback, we could only see the left hand a little bit. But when you are giving the recommendation, now the hand gestures were very clear. You can challenge yourself to be consistent with your hand gestures, and that way you'll be able to connect well with the speaker that you're giving feedback. Overall, thank you very much and well done. Let's go to speaker number 4. Speaker number 4 is Toastmaster Paramjit, who will be evaluated by Robin Stone. This is what Robin Stone said about our today's theme. Quantum leadership is needed to navigate this VUCA world, an area of great growth for him and most of us. Over to you, Robin.
Thank you very much, Madam General Evaluator. And Paramjit, rise of a Toastmaster. You told us up front that you were going to tell us a tall tale. So we knew that whatever you told us would be exaggerated. It wouldn't be true. And yeah, it was wonderful how this fitted in with the theme of you going at quantum speed throughout the universe, saving everybody and saving us. How many times? 197 times. When you give this sort of speech, you also give yourself the license to go over the top. And that's the opportunity. So with everything, with your vocal variety and also with your body language. And you certainly moved in that direction. You were not speaking normally at all. You were giving facts which were amusing, picking up the phone to Elon Musk and Joe Biden and people like that. And it was becoming ridiculous, as indeed a tall tale arguably should be. I think you did use the technique of vocal variety, which was your focus on this particular occasion. You used variations of volume, pitch. Your language was clear. And you varied your timing. And you filled your words with emotion. I think I would have a couple of comments. First of all, go bigger. You can. You've got everything available to you to do that. Move a bit more within the bounds of the frame. You seemed very stuck in one place, even though you were using your arms a lot. The other thing I just observed is that you seem to be fixated on something to the right of the camera. So you weren't looking directly into the camera. So I think just watch that in future, and so that you can focus more correctly and so form connection. Because a tall story or a humorous story is essentially about connecting with us. And there were a lot of audience reactions, so I think you were, but I think it would just make it that much stronger if you were to connect properly with the camera. Anyway, well done, and look forward to hearing from you again. Thank you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you. Thank you, Robin. Robin, the evaluation you've given, it has demonstrated that you listened, because you even picked the small things from the speech from Paramjit. This is a very good skill, and the poses that you are giving with clear recommendation, that was very fitting. And your Zoom presence was very good, and your hand gestures, you are able to see as you're giving your feedback to the speaker. That was very well done. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. The only slight thing that I saw when you're turning your notes, at times we could actually, you are seeing mine, at times you are able to see them. Maybe you can try to just do that without having them being seen in the Zoom. Thank you for that. Well done. Now we are going to our final speaker. Our final speaker is Arouna So, who will be evaluated by Tony. This is what Tony said about our theme today, is to be able to lead in big situation or small. Over to you, Tony.
Thank you, General Evaluator, and to Arouna and to fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests. This was not a typical Toastmaster social speech. The title of this presentation by Arouna was A Game Changer. It was to announce the winner of a professional training competition. Specifically was Financial Market Capacity Development, which is about strengthening financial institutions, regulations, markets to operate efficiently and with stability. So very specialized, very focused. So the context of the audience is sitting there waiting to hear who won the competition for this training exercise. So they are very focused on that, and that's those specialties. Now, Arouna, what you did really well in celebrating not just the competitors, but the winner, Hubert, I believe is his name, is that you acknowledged the technical expertise of the competitors from 8 countries. You emphasized their virtues of dedication and consistency, and you spoke all throughout your presentation with enthusiasm and vigor. Now, my recommendation is to conclude with a crescendo. Celebrate what made the winner of this competition really special, such as, ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this competition was a game changer who showed that knowledge and talent is excellent, but not enough. But that success also includes action and execution. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in congratulating the game changer, Hubert. So end with that crescendo. In other words, make the winner feel like a winner. Overall, as you asked, the structure was very good by the way you prepared the level of the knowledge, the efforts of the competitors, and you built up the presentation to the conclusion. So I suggest that you hype up the conclusion with a crescendo. Arouna, congratulations on making everyone, especially Hubert, feel good about this competition. Well done. Back to you, GE.
Thank you, Tony. Tony, I really appreciate your depth of your insights during the evaluation. You gave clear evaluation with the well-summarized points and the areas to work on. And you're very detailed with your hand gestures and tone of variation. Thank you very much for that. Well done. Let me request the timer to share the time in the chat, please. Thank you, timer. The Zoom master, please launch the poll for the best evaluator. Thank you. Now we'll hear from the grammarian Vinod Panika, who has been listening attentively for proper language use, as well as areas of improvement, including the word of the day, which is synergy. Over to you, Vinod.
Thank you, General Evaluator. So all our speakers took the quantum leap. So we say that a system is a set of interrelated components that works together to achieve a particular goal. And to make this work, we need synergy. Let's see how many people use the word synergy. Angela, Nicole, Lydia, and Ray used it. Angela used it 4 times. So in total, we used the word 7 times. The good use of language, I would like to highlight the power of 3, triad, which was used 7 times according to me. When to move, when to pause, when to make game-changing decision. Be curious, flexible, grounded. And the best, the coconut, how to drink a coconut juice, 1 crane, 1 forklift, 1 elephant. Hard work, resilience, and determination. Floating, unused, waiting. Pause, notice, adapt. Longer, deeper, purposeful. So when we use triads, we remember them for a longer time and it gives an impact. A book was referred, Who Moved My Cheese? Core values of Toastmasters was mentioned in a speech, respect, integrity, service, excellence, quote by Maya Angelou. One area of improvement I would say is I saw 2-3 speakers having difficulty in pronouncing words. They were getting stuck. So 2 things can be done for that. One, be impromptu. Don't look for the right word that if I don't get this, I will not be able to complete this sentence. Second is when you practice, read out the words a little bit louder and practice. The magic will happen in the practice. Other than that, there were a lot of other statements that were good, like throwing a curveball, turning possibilities into action, leading isn't linear, it's dynamic, small shifts create big ripples, curiosity removes judgment, paint emotions with my voice, letting your words breathe. True joy is not in abundance, it is in scarcity, and the red light is on, but keep on taking that quantum leap and start playing with the words from now. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you. Thank you very much, our grammarian. And that was our detailed report with the areas that we've done well, the areas that stood out, and the areas to work on. Thank you for that report. Now it's my time to provide my overall evaluation for the meeting. To start with, the planning preparation for these meetings started 3 weeks back. The group was opened on 6th October. And for the interest of our guests, in Leadership Speak, we are self-directed leaders, and as Toastmaster of the day, you lead the leaders in the planning for the meeting. There was a perfect synergy to have a successful meeting that we've had today. Now, during our meeting, the meeting began on time with smooth transitions between the segments, showing great preparations and teamwork. The evaluators delivered a balanced feedback, highlighting both the areas that they were commending the speakers, their strengths, and also the areas for improvement. The speakers, they demonstrated confidence and clarity. And the support that we got from the role takers when they're performing their roles was with precision, adding value to our learning experience today. Overall, today's session reflected a strong leadership, active participation, and a positive club spirit. With a little more focus on the time management and energy during the transition, we can elevate the meeting to even further level. I leave you with this quote that we've had several issues related to this quote from Dana Zoha, who said that quantum leadership is not about controlling outcomes, but about cultivating the condition where new possibilities can emerge. Well done to everyone, and thank you. Back to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Lydia. That was excellently executed. I felt that there was a lot of synergy in getting the report delivered. Mr. Grammarian, you can add a few more statistics into your report. You have reminded us to use the word synergy. That said, I would like to bring in artist role taker who will share with us the thought of the day. And when I asked the same question on quantum leadership, she said, without efficiency and effectiveness, she said, if efficiency and effectiveness are two sides of the same coin, one cannot live without the other. Ntati, welcome to proceed with the next segment.
Sorry.
It's okay.
There is nothing so useless as doing efficiently that which should not be done at all. Peter Drucker's words remind us that efficiency and effectiveness are interrelated. If there is no effectiveness, that's wasted effort. Quantum leadership is about being effective, not just efficient. It is about focusing on high impact actions that drive results. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, at Leadership Speak, we cultivate the qualities that make quantum leadership possible. These are adaptability, self-awareness, and resilience. These traits allow us to navigate our ever-changing world and create a synergy of talent and skills. Where collective strength drive us forward. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, how do we harness this synergy of interconnectedness? We do what matters. We identify actions that drive the biggest impact and focus on those. Our strategies, tactics, and plans are laser focused with no room for distraction. By fostering synergy among members, we unlock new levels of productivity and innovation. As our Toastmaster of the day so aptly put it, our collective boasts of a myriad of talents and skills. Quantum leadership leverages this strength by emphasizing flexibility, interconnectedness, and agility. In everyday life, outside Toastmasters, this means using all the available skills and qualities to cut through the noise and focus on high leverage activities. It means taking bold actions, leading with precision and intention, and never holding back. In conclusion, Mr. Toastmaster, quantum leadership is about doing what matters, exploiting the skills and qualities at our disposal. Let us continue to focus on what drives impact, make bold moves. Let us continue to lead with precision. Let's lead without limits, fueled by adaptability, self-awareness, and embracing quantum leadership. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Tati, for giving us your takeaway regarding the progress of the meeting and regarding the theme, which is quite enlightening, and also a reminder of the key points that were discussed. Having said that, it is now time to display the awards. And our kind of disappeared. You want to bring it back, please? Our best speaker of the day is none other than Nicole Whyte. Let's give her a big clap, please. Next up is our best evaluator, Tony. Thank you very much, Piero team. Now, as we conclude, I'd just like to share a brief summary of my biggest takeaway from this meeting, connecting to the message that I shared, but also the messages that were shared. And what really struck me is the responses that were given by different role takers. And it turned out that most of us were practicing, and will continue practicing quantum leadership. And I like that everyone put a spin of their own interpretation, turning possibilities into action, focusing on what really matters, moving from A to D. A modern approach to leadership, being more self-aware, embracing gratitude and valuing what we have, creativity beyond the borders, as well as staying focused in what matters. And finally, accepting ambiguity, complexity, that will unlock our creativity, build stronger relationships, and thrive in this fast-changing world. It's just one thing that I did not hear in this entire conversation. And I would like all of us to take this home today, that whatever has been shared is a good component, is an excellent principle that we need to consider in quantum leadership. However, as a leader, we need to hold these values through emotional intelligence. That is very key. By reading the room, looking at how the pieces will fit together so that we can even go further using this skill. That said, I would like to welcome President Holmes to take over the next segment.
Thank you, Oltesh, for leading us in this meeting. I'd like to take a bit of time to speak with the most important people in the room, the guests, and if there's time, also speak to some of our members today. Let's see. Indila Napela, are you available to speak? Indila Napela? Mamando Gerber? Mamando, are you available to speak? Share with us your comments about the meeting. Merlin Review, Merlin, are you available to speak? Just go through a bit quicker. Sashni, are you available? Sashni? Yvonne Codrington, Yvonne Corrington. Okay, I think some of our guests are maybe inconvenient, no worries. Some of our newer members. Sylvia Warrington, are you available? No worries. Otherwise, Oltesh, let me bring you back. Oltesh, this is your first time as TMOD, and it hasn't been that long since you joined the club, a couple of months. How do you feel about this experience being the leader of the meeting? Share with us.
Thank you, Hans. It's not easy, to facilitate a meeting of the best club in the world, right? So the standards are high. But there's one thing that pleasantly surprised me. We normally start, if I had to use the word from Irfan, we start with support, we start with availability of role takers, we start with role takers not responding on time. But let me see that I was overwhelmed with support to a point that I nearly got confused. But that was a good problem. That was a good problem. And let me just say that I had a lot of support from Zahra, from Gilda, from Nicole, from me, of course, and everyone was just making sure that we get this meeting done. And that was a true demonstration of quantum leadership, because there were areas that, with the work that I do, but also with time, zone differences, you skip something, maybe the other member does not know that you were sleeping, maybe dreaming, but they were always there, to support, to make sure that we keep, updating the Easy Speak tool, which was very useful. So that is one. But the second one is, I really like the fact that there were a few members that dropped last minute, but the transitions into bringing, the replacements was very smoothless, or was very, smooth to the extent that everything just fell in place, and I really enjoyed that. And the last one is, the meeting was on point. I really enjoyed the speeches. You have enriched my knowledge on quantum leadership, and I'm going to write a speech on this one, because I did not really get a lot of time, to put in my experiences in there. But whoever spoke about quantum leadership, be it a speech or be it a response, it will go a long way in taking us to the next level as members of leadership sake, but also as leaders out there. Back to you, President Holmes.
Thanks a lot, Oltesh. Note that one of the people I called upon may have turned on the camera or microphone a while ago. Maybe we can connect after I get Oltesh to officially end the meeting, and noting the time is past 12. Oltesh, let me hand back to you to adjourn the meeting as well as lead the post-meeting conversation. Over to you, Oltesh.
Right. Thank you, President Holmes. I would like to adjourn meeting number 1967, and I look forward to seeing everyone next week. And let us just put a little bit more energy to invite guests as well as members from other clubs so that they can come and enjoy the quality and the experience of the Premier Club, where experience Toastmasters move and shake as we learn, innovate, and connect.